Hi Ben, it's Lexie, and last time I told you how the people who raised me kept a big secret from me. I'm Black. I'm back to tell you the revelations I learned when I set out to find my biological father. I know people have questions. Let's talk.
Hey everyone, it's Ben. Welcome to The Secret Room and the conclusion of Lexie's secret in I'm Black, Part 2. Today, armed with nothing more than a name and an old family photo, Lexie goes on the hunt to find her biological father. But when she finds him, she realizes that she's the one with the secret, and she's scared if she confesses, it could shatter their fledgling relationship. We'll pick up with Lexie just after her grandparents and mom have confirmed that the man that she thought was her father was not.
I went into hyperdrive.
And I guess now you probably want to find your biodad.
I was ready for the hunt.
You've got his name?
Yep.
You know maybe where he lives? In the region anyway?
Yep. So I have his name. I know at least where he lived in the 90s, which is a start.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's, my friends joke even to this very day that I probably could have been a PI, or I should have been a PI, because, they'll go on dates with guys on Tinder. They'll give me the first name and the college they went to, and I'll find them. I'll do these deep dives on these guys. So kind of did the same thing to my biological father. I stayed up all night searching. So I did use that name. I used the state that I knew he lived in when it was, in the 90s. I was able to find the exact address he lived at for most of his life, but then it went cold. There was just nothing, but I was not discouraged at this point. I'm riding the high of a secret. I'm going to find this guy and I'm going to get in contact with him.
Yeah, nothing is going to stop you.
Yeah. So I ended up going to Facebook, of course, typed in his name and city. One profile popped up.
Okay. It
was completely locked down, Ben. I mean, there was nothing. There was absolutely no information on here. His name on Facebook was his first name twice. So it wasn't first name, last name. I could see what city he was living in, and that's it.
Was there a picture?
There was no picture.
And is it a fairly unique name? Because if I imagine it was John, that wouldn't be, very convincing.
It is a fairly unique name.
Okay. If a Facebook page is on lockdown,
yeah, can
you still message to that person?
I can, and I did.
Oh my gosh. What did you say? Do you remember?
So, I found the actual message.
You're going to read it for us.
I had to scroll back quite a ways, but so I said, "Hello, my name is Lexie." I told him the town that I lived in. I am the daughter of my mother, as with her maiden name, as you would have known her. If you are who I hope you are, then you spent some time with her in Columbus. I am 18 years old. I am not reaching out to you for any sort of compensation or child support. I just want to know who you are. If this is the wrong person, that was probably a weird message to read. Feel free to ignore. Thank you.
Wow. Oh my gosh. So when you press send, you must have been shaking. I am all in on this. This is my only lead at this point.
I was petrified. I was so scared. At that point, it was 1 or 2 o'clock Eastern time. So, it's been a long day for me at that point.
What a day. This is the day that you found out? Same day?
It's the same day.
Same day. I was imagining some time had passed. Goodness gracious.
Oh, no. I had a mission.
By the end of the day, you had found him.
Yep.
So I guess he replied. Yeah.
I woke up that morning believing I was white and knowing who my parents were, to finding out that was wrong, that I was Black, and messaging my biological dad.
What a day. My God. Yeah. Okay, so because we've established that we know who your biodad is,
yes,
I imagine he answered. Did he answer?
He did answer.
How much time passed? A week?
No. So I went to sleep around 1 or 2 in the morning, and I woke up around 6 a.m. And at that point, I saw that he had tried to call me on Facebook 10 times.
Oh my God, you slept right through it.
I sure did, which, I'm going to credit it to the fact that it was an emotionally draining day.
No kidding.
I was absolutely just pooped. So
Yeah.
I slept through all of that phone ringing. I did.
Well, good. Make him sweat for a minute.
Yeah, a little bit. So at that point, it's 6 o'clock in the morning and Eastern time. This is important.
Okay. And what time zone is he in?
He is in Pacific Standard Time.
Okay.
So it's 3 a.m. So I messaged him back really early in the morning for me, even earlier for him, just apologizing for falling asleep. I didn't expect a response. I thought, it's 3 a.m. This dude's asleep.
Mm-hmm.
He responded immediately asking me to call him.
Wow, he was just sitting by his Facebook waiting for you to reach out.
Yeah.
He was probably nervous as all get out.
Yeah, yes, he was.
What was his demeanor when you called him?
When I ended up calling him, he was so excited, like cartoon character. Weird thing to say, but like it was so excited. I don't think I've ever met or talked to anybody who was as excited as he was on the phone.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
You could hear it in his voice.
I could.
Did he say that he'd been waiting for you to call? Like for years?
He did not say he was waiting for years. He had been waiting since I had fallen asleep.
Okay.
Our conversations, they were interesting, especially that first conversation where he was like, I've always wondered if something was missing from my life. And, very, very over the top things like that. Like, oh my gosh, I knew there was another piece of me out there. I just didn't know where. He had told me during that conversation that he tried to find my mom just to see how she was doing and what, she had made of herself, but couldn't find her on any social media. But yeah, no, he was so excited.
Was the implication that he didn't know that your mom was pregnant?
That is the implication from him. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
He did not know.
All right. So these are the threads we're working out.
Yes.
What did he reveal about himself?
I found out that part of the reason he left Ohio is because he wanted to go into the military. He successfully did so. He was in the Air Force. I found out I had another half sibling.
Goodness.
That's a lot of siblings.
Yeah, so many brothers and sisters.
Yeah. He did wake up my half brother on his side when we were talking on the phone at 3 a.m. his time to let him know that he had a sister.
Wow.
At this point, this poor kid was like in his mid-teens. So, he's a little moody. He's grumpy. He was an only child his entire life. And like, he was not thrilled.
Oh, he was not happy about it. He went from the only kid to being one of two, and he was the youngest.
Yeah. He was also dead asleep when my biological father woke him up. So I'm sure that didn't help either. But he was not exactly excited to go from the only to part of a set.
So you filled him in on yourself too, I suppose.
Yes.
And you told him how you'd found the truth?
I did tell him how I found the truth, very similarly to my grandmother. He didn't share anything negative or positive. He just seemed happy to be talking to me.
Wow, this is kind of beautiful.
Yeah.
How much did you share with him?
There was something that I definitely wanted to share, but, as we continued talking, I learned that he was incredibly religious. Mm-hmm. He carried rosaries around. He went to church several times a week. So because of this, I learned he was a decently conservative person. There was a secret of my own that I had not shared with him.
Okay. What is that? Wait, what is happening here? Lexie's got her own secret. We'll find out what it is in just a moment, and as she shares it with her biological father. This time of year, when it's cold and dark by dinner time, all I want is something warm, comforting, and easy. Home Chef has been my go-to for cozy home-cooked meals without the hassle. From easy oven-ready meals to hearty, satisfying recipes that make winter dinners feel effortless. Home Chef has over 30 meal options each week with choices for different diets and different tastes. Go take a look online right now. You can see the easy-to-follow recipes, prep time, and a gorgeous picture of your final product. There have been so many meals I've enjoyed from Home Chef, and next time I'm getting the sweet chili crunch chicken with buttery broccoli and potatoes, which looks fabulous. I can hardly wait. It's part of their express meal collection and takes just 20 to 30 minutes to prep. I am a big fan, and people really love it. Home Chef is rated #1 by users of other meal kits for quality, convenience, value, taste, and recipe ease. And for a limited time, Home Chef is offering you 50% off and free shipping for your first box, plus free dessert for life. Go to homechef.com/secret. Whatever kind of day you're having, Home Chef has you covered, from classic recipes with fresh ingredients and 30-minute meals to oven-ready trays and quick microwave lunches. There's even a dedicated family menu for easy 4 or 6 serving dinners. For a limited time, Home Chef is offering my listeners 50% off and free shipping for your first box, plus free dessert for life. Go to homechef.com/secret. That's homechef.com/secret for 50% off your first box and free dessert for life. You must be an active subscriber to receive free dessert. Check the show notes for the link.
Reaching your weight loss goals doesn't have to mean completely changing the way you live your life. What if you could make healthy progress with a treatment plan that included medication and access to 24/7 support, all personalized to go at your pace? That's Weight Loss by Hers. So if you've been struggling with your weight loss journey, it's time you find the best option that works for you through Hers. Visit forhers.com/secret to get a personalized, affordable plan that gets you. Hers offers you convenience, which is what we all really need in our lives. It's 100% online care with licensed providers who will learn your story to create a plan that truly works for you. Forget the yo-yoing, just results. And when you need tweaks along the way, the plan is adjustable. I've needed to adjust my medications a few times to get back on track because progress isn't ever in a straight line. Hers goes beyond medication by offering access to ongoing care, dosage and medication adjustments, lifestyle and nutrition tips. And as always, 24/7 support with no hidden costs or membership fees. And with options starting at just $69 per month with a 10-month plan when paid upfront in full, Hers provides access to options that fit your goals and your budget. Feel like your best self again. Visit forhers.com/secret to get a personalized, affordable plan that gets you. That's forhers.com/secret. forhers.com/secret. Weight Loss by Hers is not available everywhere. Compounded drug products are not approved or evaluated for safety, effectiveness, or quality by the FDA. Prescription required. See website for full details, important safety information, and restrictions. Actual price depends on product and plan purchased. Check the show notes.
And we are back as we've learned that Lexie's got her own secret to share, or not share.
I had only recently told my family, but I am a lesbian.
Okay, more revelations.
Yes.
So you're gay.
Yes.
Was this at odds with his religion?
From what I had gathered, 100%.
Oh my
he had shared
gosh.
some things with me. He had shared some things that he was uncomfortable with, politically, socially, so I just kind of kept that to myself.
Oh, okay. So you did not tell him at this point that you're gay?
Oh, no. No. I was terrified. I was so scared just because of the things that he had said up until that point. They weren't ideal to, it wasn't a person that you're going to feel comfortable coming out to, especially because, I had just met this person. My fear was, based off of the things he was saying, was that I would no longer have him in my life. I would have gotten something only to have it taken away pretty quickly.
So he had made it clear in his conversations with you that he's not down with gay people.
Yeah.
That must have been a tremendous letdown.
But definitely so. I think, once again, I could finally see myself clearly, but then I put back the rose-colored goggles or glasses on, and that's how I kind of started to view him, just because I wanted to know everything. You know,
Okay.
18 years is a long time. A long time to not know somebody. So I just was so desperate to learn who he was.
Well, it's your story to tell. You can choose when the right time is to share that information with him.
Yeah.
But a quick side question. How did your family take your coming out?
Oh my gosh, my mom's family was incredible. You know,
Yeah.
they were so accepting. You know, it was a lot of big hugs and
Oh,
a couple of, once again, not surprised. Like,
really? Okay.
not
Like,
surprising.
gee, everybody knew
comments.
but you.
Yeah, there were a couple. My mom, you know, I went through a big phase where I wanted to wear ties in high school, and she was like, "Come on." Those weren't even in style at that point. You just wanted to wear ties. And she was like, that's how I knew you were gay, which is such horseshit. But she loved it.
Maybe. So this is another secret about your identity that was obvious to other people before you knew yourself.
Yep. Once again,
Oh my
everyone
gosh.
around me
Wonder
knows
if there's
me.
anything else.
God, gosh, please no. I don't think I can take another one. I'm tired.
Well, we can always do a sequel if you come up with another story.
Got you.
At what point did you share with your mom and your stepdad that you had initiated contact with your bio dad?
After the secret was out to me, it was not talked about. You know, it kind of got dusted under the rug.
You didn't tell them?
I told them, but there weren't any follow-up questions. I can tell you my mother was not very happy that I reached out. She knew I was going to. That's another reason I assume she didn't tell me in the first place, because she knows me. I was going to go looking.
Yeah. But I'm so curious. She did not have any questions about what your conversations were about?
Nope. She didn't ask very much. Now, my grandmother, on the other hand, she was more open to hearing about it. She was curious. She wanted to know, you know, who this boy who was my father that she had met a couple of times turned into.
Do you think your mom did not ask questions because she didn't want to be confronted with a diverging story? Like that maybe the story she told you might be outed as a lie?
I think so. I wondered if that was also part of it. And, you know, at this point, my mom and our relationship was okay. We just didn't speak very often. You know, I was in college. I was still pissed. I was, you know, busy going out and living my own life. So I did tell her that I found him, and that was pretty much the end of the conversation with my mom.
Wow. What did your stepdad have to say about it?
I think he was a little nervous to talk to me about it. I think he had a little bit of fear because, you know, he had stepped into that father figure role strong and steady.
Oh, it made him feel insecure?
I think he was scared that I would replace the relationship that we had built at that point. So I think he was worried, scared, a little insecure.
That was never going to happen, though.
No, not at all. He's an incredible guy too. I'm very lucky.
Yeah. Did you ever make arrangements to go visit your bio dad?
I did make arrangements to go meet my biological father. At this point, you know, I think it had been close to a year, maybe a little over. We were talking quite a bit. We had never FaceTimed. I knew what he looked like when he was younger because he would send me pictures of him when he was younger, you know, old photos he found. So I knew this man, in theory, matched, you know, the very minimal side profile I saw
Right.
from the other picture. I was just like, yeah, sure, it matches for sure. This is absolutely him. It could have been anyone. So we'd been talking for about a year, no FaceTime, didn't know what he looked like, current day. And he ended up inviting me out to the West Coast.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think that would be inevitable.
Yeah, for sure.
So did you go?
You know, I did go, and looking back, the way I did this was so reckless.
How so?
I did not tell my family I was going. I told my girlfriend at the time. Some of my close college friends knew, but I was flying across the country by myself for the first time ever to meet a man who could have been anyone.
Yeah. I don't know if it sounds incredibly reckless.
Yeah. I definitely should have told my family that I was going, though. Like, they didn't know where I was. I was there for a week and they had no idea.
Did they know you were gone?
They did not.
Okay. They still think you're hanging around town?
Yep.
Going to college?
Yep.
Chilling with your girlfriend?
Yep.
So you met him. Did he pick you up at the airport?
That's another thing. He did not pick me up at the airport.
No kidding.
He lived about 45 minutes to an hour away from the airport that I landed at, and he sent a car.
Okay.
Yeah.
A little weird.
A little bit. It was different. I was definitely expecting him to pick me up, but it was not him. It was one of those, it was fun when I was 19, 20, one of the guys holding the signs. That was cool.
Yeah.
I felt like I was in a movie, but also, where's my biological father?
Did he have a physical impairment that kept him from traveling or anything like that? Or
he did not.
He just wasn't down with the trip?
He just didn't pick me up.
Okay. All right. So you get in the car, you make the trip out to his place. Are you staying with him?
I was staying with him.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. Tell me what it was like when you arrived.
I, once again, pulling up to the house, I had that heart and ears sensation where I was like, okay, either I'm about to meet my biological father or I'm about to meet my murderer.
Right. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like some stranger that I found on the internet.
Yeah.
Let it please be my biological father. I get out of the car and then very cinematically, the garage door starts to open.
Okay. Such drama. Lexie's taking a bit of a risk, secretly flying across the country to meet a man she's never seen, but whom she believes is her biological father. And what's in the garage? Stay with me.
I get up long before the sun, and I'm done with the I have nothing to wear mornings. 2026 is when I've got help to make my mornings run a little more smoothly, and it's because of Daily Look. I want to thank Daily Look, the #1 premium personal styling service for women, for sponsoring us. You've got to check this out. For 50% off your first order, head to dailylook.com and use code SECRETROOM. Daily Look is really cool. You get your own stylist who is picking out each piece for you. They curate the box to work with pieces mixed together or as separates based on your lifestyle, preferences, and body type. This is not an algorithm. You get the same stylist each time, so they really get to know you. You get 12 items in each box, so you can keep what you love and return the rest with free shipping, of course. And the style quiz captured my preferences, and it was all so easy. One of my go-to pieces they sent is a white cotton gauze Henley. I can dress it up with slacks for work or dress it down for a casual outing. It's been a very warm winter where I live, so my sweaters have stayed in the back of the closet, and this Henley is center stage. It's time to get your own personal stylist with Daily Look. Head to dailylook.com to take your style quiz and use code SECRETROOM for 50% off your first order. Once again, that's dailylook.com for 50% off, and make sure you use our promo code SECRETROOM so they know we sent you. One last time, dailylook.com and promo code SECRETROOM. Check the show notes for the details.
And we rejoin Lexie as her ride pulls up to what she believes is her biological father's house.
I get out of the car and then very cinematically, the garage door starts to open. And my biological father runs out at me and we embrace.
So great.
Yeah. Yeah, it was amazing.
Did you bear physical resemblance to him?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Like, did you immediately know he was your biological father?
Yeah, it was very evident. Everyone on, in my familial unit on my mom's side is tall. I am 5 inches shorter than my shortest sibling.
Okay.
So like, I could see like why I'm short. This man is not tall. It would have been fascinating to see him and my mother together because she is tall for a woman. I would have paid good money because I just like I can't see it because he's so tiny and she's so giant.
Any other similarities?
Yeah, so I could see where my butt chin came from.
Okay.
Yeah, we had matching little chins. This is something all of my friends make fun of me for, but I could see why my feet were like, we discovered this on day 2, not immediately. But we have the same foot shape, as in my feet are rectangular and so are his.
Okay.
It's a very odd thing. I promise you, it's something you have to see to believe. It's very odd.
I will not ask you for pictures of your feet.
I hear people make great money doing that, so.
We have an episode on a foot fetish model.
Do you really?
Yeah, it's called Fetish.
I'm going to write that down. I think I've listened to that one.
Yeah, it's good. Maybe it'll serve as an inspiration for you.
Listen. Absolutely. I could use some extra cash right now. Yeah.
So what other similarities were there? Your hair?
Obviously, my hair. I definitely get that from him. His was, he had a fade at the time, so... But you could tell that it was, he had his waves looking all good. I could tell that my hair texture came from this man. My nose is absolutely nothing like my white family's nose. I have a nice in-between nose of both of my parents, but it looks more similar to my father's.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So you see features for the first time in somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
He is clearly your dad.
It was remarkable. It was so grounding. I'm like, holy shit, there is someone in this world that I look like.
You spent a lot of time together. What kinds of things did you do?
There were a lot of things to do around where he lived, but we just stayed inside the whole time, which is fair. We were sharing stories, catching up on, 18 years.
Probably had a lot to talk about.
Yeah. Everything seemed great. We were making up for the time that we had lost.
Did you share with him at this meeting that you were gay?
I was not planning on it. So it was toward the end of my trip where things took a little bit of a turn. At that time, Tumblr was all the rage. The gay community, and honestly just in general, but the gays loved Tumblr, and so did I. I posted a lot about being gay on Tumblr. Yes, I did. Mm-hmm. He let me know that he had found my Tumblr.
Oh.
And that he knew I was gay.
Okay. Well, gosh, how did he take it?
He said that he didn't necessarily believe in gay people, but would love me.
Doesn't have believe in them.
Yeah, they don't exist. We're actually invisible. Didn't you know, Ben?
Right. Had no idea.
It's a cool superpower I have. Yeah.
Good to know.
You don't believe in me. Just like
learning
Santa.
A lot of things on this interview.
Yeah. So, he said he doesn't believe in them, us gay people, but he would still love me anyway. Yeah.
Okay. How magnanimous, but at least you know that your sexuality is not going to interfere with your relationship with your father.
Yeah. At the time I was so relieved that he didn't just shut the door on our relationship. Mm-hmm. I was very focused on the part where he said he would still love me, that I didn't hear, the louder part of what he had actually said. The not believing in gay people. Did
you also meet your half-brother?
When he would come out of his room.
Okay, so he spent the week hiding in his room except for meals, maybe?
Yeah. Even, there were even some meals that my biological dad let him take his food right up to his room, and he would. So I saw him a few times during that trip.
Oh my gosh, poor kid. He's like, what is going on?
Yeah, he's going through it.
All right.
I didn't blame him at all. It would have been a lot to hear at that young of an age.
So what was your biological father's profession?
This is a very fun one.
Okay.
He worked in supply chain. Mm-hmm. And it is fun because that is what I do now.
No kidding. Wow. Chip off the old block you are.
Yep. That was, it was very serendipitous, one might say.
Interesting. Did you get more backstory on his relationship with your mom?
Yeah. So, we had already had that very weighty conversation about me being a lesbian.
Mm-hmm.
I figured when in Rome, let's just keep digging this hole. We're already here. So I wanted to go deeper, not just tell silly stories and fun memories and things like that.
Yeah, let's get to the meat.
Yeah, I finally asked him his story.
Okay, more of the second thread.
Yeah, I was desperate to know what happened. And he told me his version.
And what was his version?
According to my biological father, my mother never told him that she was pregnant. He said that she basically ghosted him after he told her he was going into the military. He had no idea that I had existed. He said when he tried to visit her at my grandparents' house, this is such... my grandmother threw an encyclopedia at him.
What?
Yeah, he told me that they had had a conversation about his race.
Okay.
And she was not pleased with his answer. And so she threw that encyclopedia at him and made it clear that he wasn't welcome in her home because of the color of his skin.
Wow. What was the answer that she was not pleased with?
So, the fascinating thing about my biological father is that his racial background changed a couple of times in many different stories. He told my grandmother he was Jamaican, which is black, in my opinion. But then he told her that he had misspoke and that he was actually Puerto Rican.
He accidentally said he was Jamaican when he's really Puerto Rican?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was shocking to hear him say that about my grandmother.
Yeah, so he said that your grandmother did not like his race and threw a encyclopedia at him as a result?
Yes. Yeah.
That's weird. Okay.
Yes.
So did you question him on that? Like, are you sure that does not sound like the woman I grew up with?
At that point, I was just so afraid to say anything or step out of line in any way that might make him want to not have a relationship with me. So I didn't question him. I didn't push back. I was just confused and sitting in it by myself.
Well, you're taking in a lot of information, and I imagine this is all going to come out in a conversation with your grandma.
Of course.
Yeah, because you were ever so curious.
Yeah. My grandma is a sharpshooter, so I knew she would be, very willing to listen about, the things that my biological father told me. So I did end up asking her about the stories.
Okay. So you wrapped up the week and you went back home.
Yes.
And
yes.
When you got home, did you confess to everybody where you had been?
I sure didn't. I told nobody. I told my grandmother. That's it.
And of course, you told your grandmother what he had said. And what did she say?
Yeah. I asked her very explicitly. I said, did you do this? Because it didn't sound like my grandma. But at this point, who knows anymore?
Yeah.
I asked her just to see. I knew she would be honest with me. So like I told you earlier, my grandmother had kept her thoughts on my biological father neutral.
Right.
After I had told her what he had said, naturally she denied them. And it kind of felt like, okay, if this is what we're doing, then I have a few stories to tell about your biological father myself.
My goodness. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm ready. What on earth did she have to share?
Yeah. So we touched on the fact that they didn't spend a lot of time together, but she did remember him telling lots of stories about the French maid his family had growing up.
Okay.
Like as in Beauty and the Beast. You know what I mean? Like very cartoon coded energy where it was like, oh yes, I had this French maid in my huge mansion of a home growing up. That is where I learned the story about him going from Black to Jamaican to Puerto Rican. So my grandma did tell me that, like, you know, he kept changing the ethnicity of which he identified with. That was an interesting one to hear. And then she did also let me know that my biological father had talked my mother into helping him fund his part in an MLM scheme.
Was your grandmother involved in that?
Unfortunately, she was.
So she knows about it.
Oh, yeah. The way they funded it was by using a credit card that my mother was an authorized user on, but my grandmother was the primary user. And they maxed out the entire credit card that was in my grandmother's name.
Wow, what a mess.
Yeah.
You've got so much information to sift through here. Like, everybody's telling you different things.
Yeah, it was a lot of he said, she said. It was, my brain was so swimmy. I had no clue who to believe at any point in time during this period.
Was there any more to the story about the French maid besides that they had one? Like, what was the point of that?
My grandmother told me that he was trying to express how well off his family was. Not sure why, but yeah, the French maid was because he wanted to flex his wealth that he allegedly had.
Did you bring this up with your mom or your stepdad?
I did not.
Why not?
I didn't want to keep opening up a wound with my parents that they were clearly having a hard time coming to terms with.
Well, that's considerate of you. Yeah, it's hard. So much on your shoulders now.
Yeah.
Did you talk about your grandmother's reaction to your biological father's story with your biological father?
I don't remember ever having that conversation with him. I just remember being like, hey, I've never known her to have racist tendencies.
So you're leaning toward believing your grandma's side of the story.
I'm staying open, Ben. I'm trying not to. I think because of how everything went down, I mean, like 18 years of being lied to, it makes trusting folks a little hard.
I get it.
I'm listening, I'm internalizing, which is making me confused, but I'm trying to keep an open mind for everyone.
Now, earlier in the interview, you had used some language that implied, at least to me, that maybe you're not still in touch with your biological father.
I am not.
At what point did you guys lose contact? What bakes from frozen in 25 minutes into some of the most comforting food you could ask for? Just pick your favorites from Wild Grain, the first bake from frozen, fully customizable subscription box for artisanal breads, seasonal pastries, and fresh pastas. The sourdough loaf is truly delicious, and I highly recommend the pappardelle pasta, the sausage ragu sauce, and the croissants, but honestly, you cannot miss. This episode of The Secret Room is brought to you by Wild Grain. Check out this delicious deal. Right now, Wild Grain is offering you $30 off your first box, plus free croissants in every box when you go to wildgrain.com/secret to start your subscription, or you can use promo code SECRET at checkout. And unlike many store-bought options, Wild Grain uses simple ingredients you can pronounce and a slow fermentation process that can be easier on your belly and richer in nutrients and antioxidants. There are no preservatives and no shortcuts. In addition to their variety box, they have a gluten-free box, a vegan box, and a new protein box. It's perfect for easy dinners, cozy weekend brunches, and warming you up in the cold weather. There is nothing like having an artisan bakery in your freezer to chase away the winter chill. Now is the best time to stay in and enjoy comforting, homemade meals with Wild Grain. I highly recommend giving Wild Grain a try. Right now, Wild Grain is offering our listeners $30 off your first box, plus free croissants for life when you go to wildgrain.com/secret to start your subscription today. That's $30 off your first box and free croissants for life when you visit wildgrain.com/secret, or you can use promo code SECRET at checkout. Check the show notes.
A few months after the visit, my biological father got a job opportunity and moved to a different state. It was great. He was very excited. And then a few months after that, I received a call from a hospital in the state that he was living.
Oh my gosh. Was he okay?
He had gone into heart failure.
Okay.
The nurse on the phone told me that I was listed as his primary medical emergency contact and that I needed to come down right away because he was on life support.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So did you get down there?
I did. I was I was petrified. I was so scared. I'm very young at this point. I haven't known this person for very long, and I haven't had him in my life very long. You know, there was still so much I needed to learn.
You've had some serious bonding, though. I mean, you've known each other for over a year.
Yeah.
And you've been talking a lot and sharing. So I imagine you felt some level of concern, you know, familial responsibility.
Oh, absolutely. You know,
Yeah.
and this is going to sound selfish, but like I was freaking out about the truth. I was like, I'm not close to it yet. Like I still have, you know, so much to learn about this person. So I immediately booked the flight down there.
Right. Don't die yet.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm not ready. I still have questions. Me and my people pleasing,
Yeah.
like I haven't asked the right questions and now you're on life support. You aren't allowed to die, actually.
Right.
Sorry.
Okay. So you go down there.
Yeah.
Committed to, talk him into not leaving the planet just yet.
It was one of the scariest situations I've found myself in to this date. I don't know if you have ever seen someone on life support, but it's loud. It's frightening.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a lot to take in. And I also want to point out, this is the second time I've ever seen my biological father.
Right.
So I was kind of a mess. You know, person that I just found, a year ago is now potentially going to be gone. You know, life support is serious. It was terrifying.
So you get to the hospital and how'd things work out for him?
So he was on life support for, I want to say, 6 or 7 days. And then the doctor felt confident that his heart could operate on its own. And so they started to remove the machines and he pulled through. He survived.
Oh my God.
And
what a relief.
I mean, I'm speechless still. Like I truly expected to lose him. Because of all of this time he had spent in the hospital, he did end up losing his job.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Not a very compassionate workplace.
Yeah. No. I was shocked when I found out. I was like, wait, there are a ton of options here. I don't understand why we went this route, but yeah, he was let go.
So he's lost his job and he's recovering from heart failure. I imagine he needs some support, and you're his family. Are you helping him?
I am. Yeah, this is where our relationship kind of takes a turn. He had started hinting at the fact that it was my responsibility to help him get back on his feet.
Okay.
When I tell you I acted as I managed him from afar, I mean, I paid his rent, his phone bill, his insurance. I helped with the cost of medical appointments. I helped him set up appointments. He, at that point, had, a social worker because he had lost his job. He had this huge medical crisis. So I helped set up appointments with them. And this is, all on top of working full time and living on my own at this point. It was a lot.
This is a tremendous burden on your shoulders.
Yeah, it was, and, I am who I am. And it was something that went on for a very long time because I couldn't say no.
Yeah. I imagine that would be really, really hard. Did he find new work?
He was very hesitant to get a new job.
Why?
I'm not sure. I'd like to think it was because the line of work he was working in was a little bit stressful and he was scared to get back into that line of work.
And so how was your relationship at this point?
Well, I end up breaking the news to him that like I just can't do all of the bills anymore. I'm young. I am not making that much money. I'm making enough to like get by paying both his bills and my bills, but it wasn't comfortable. So I did end up telling him I was done paying for everything, and he did not handle that very well.
What did he say?
He was just very frustrated because it was my responsibility as the eldest to care for him, which, I mean, technically, if you think about it, I was the youngest because I had only been around for like 2 years. So I'm a 2-year-old taking care of him at this point.
Right.
It all got placed on me, but he was very much so adamant about the fact that it was my role to care for him. So he was mad. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I imagine this would be a big strain on your relationship.
It was big time.
Because you're just not going to keep footing the bill. I mean, this just can't go on forever. So there's got to be a reckoning at some point.
Yeah. It was a big deal for me to finally step up and stand up for myself and be like, you know what, bud, I actually need you to go get that job and start making your own money and paying your own bills.
And did he?
He did. Yeah, we got there. Yeah.
All right, but your relationship is damaged at this point?
Yeah.
You're still talking though?
We're still talking. It's a little weird. Even after I had visited him the first time, our conversations shifted a little bit. You know, he was becoming more religious and like very, very paranoid. He was repeating a lot of things he had seen on the internet that gave me the heebie-jeebies. Like, it just made me super uncomfortable.
Yeah, like what?
Oh, he was big into like the lizard people stuff.
I think I missed that one.
Like, there are lizard people walking among us.
Okay.
Yeah, the Illuminati. Oh, he loved the Illuminati. One of the ones he mentioned was like the water is turning like frogs gay. Like, these are all things that
Gay
I thought
frogs?
like, yes, gay frogs. I thought this was like made up stuff, which if you believe it, love that for you. But I thought this was all stuff that like people made up and then were kind of being silly about on the internet. I didn't think it was real, but he believed it.
Well, he should like gay frogs. They might be, adjacent to your community.
Well, then he didn't believe in them.
Right.
They weren't real.
So he didn't believe in gay frogs either.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, no, it's just, it was getting pretty weird pretty quickly. And after his heart attack, it only got worse.
You had told me before that he said that you had been microchipped.
He believed that the COVID vaccine had a microchip in it, like as a government control tool. It was a lot. I got to be a lot where like it was hard for me to have conversation with him because I was like, what are we talking about right now?
That's really sad. I mean, clearly he has mental health issues.
Yes, and they weren't evident to me at this time.
So what happened with your relationship?
There was a conversation that happened almost every single phone call. It got to the point where I was like, I don't know if this is healthy for me anymore. It was a really hard decision because, I'm sitting through these conversations where I'm just learning the world's most obscure conspiracy theories that my biological father truly, truly believes in. And I'm trying to be like, okay, he's, he had something traumatic happen to him, just give it a little bit of time. But then he kept referencing this dream, I would call it, that he had when he was in a coma. He said that when he was out, the only thing he could remember from this dream is that, it was a continuous nightmare that I was an evil person and that I was turning against him and, all of these, it was just such a weird story, like conversation, I don't know, but he would always end the story with, "You're not secretly evil, are you? You're not going to turn evil on me." And so it got to the point where I was like, this is it's odd. And, you know, on top of that, he's sharing a lot of like very aggressive homophobic ideations. And it was hard for me to handle at that point emotionally.
It must have been heartbreaking for you.
Yeah. You know, for the first, you know, half of this relationship, I was on cloud 9.
Well, what a roller coaster you've been on.
Yeah.
And are you sharing any of this with your mom?
I'm keeping her blissfully in the dark.
Yeah.
At this point, I hadn't even been telling my grandmother that I was paying for his bills and such. Nobody knew except for my girlfriend at the time.
Did a point come where you broke it off with him? Like, did you have that conversation?
I did. It was when I met my now fiance. Prior to me meeting my fiance, I was still kind of exploring sexuality. I was like, well, maybe I can be bisexual. You know, I'm hearing this rhetoric from my biological dad where I'm like, okay, maybe I could try this out and see if I can swing it for him. And so we had some of those conversations. So I think I gave him a little bit of false hope. But then I met my fiance and everything changed.
That sealed the deal.
Yeah, you know, like I knew she was the person for me, like from very early on. Like I wanted to, like I could see a life that I could build with her from the very start. And he was not happy.
Oh my gosh. Did your relationship culminate in a conversation where, you know, you said goodbye to each other, or was it more like a fade?
It just kind of faded to black a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
He stopped calling as much. I stopped calling as much. He stopped texting. I stopped texting. So it just kind of faded to black a little bit. I think he was a little disappointed in my partner choosing, and I was so tired of hearing the homophobic shit.
Oh, yeah, I would imagine. I mean, you need support from your family.
Yeah.
What became of him and his son? Do you know?
His son lived with him until he was like, I want to say 23, 24 years old. His son met a girl online, got married. They got married. So they're no longer my half brother on my dad's side, or biological dad's side, and my biological dad are not living together anymore. I don't know exactly where he is. I still have contact with the more accepting members of his family. And it seems as though he is still struggling with a lot of mental health issues.
Yeah.
I don't know where he's at now. He has since moved from the last state that I knew he was in.
How's your relationship with your mom at this point? You still angry?
You know, with a lot of love from mental health care professionals myself, you know, this is not something I realized this was not something I could work out on my own, just holding everyone's truths inside. My relationship with my mom is phenomenal. We've had amazing conversations. I find myself leaning more towards believing her truth. I don't think she had any malice in hiding it from me. You did an episode about someone's biological dad, and her parents told her pretty young that she was adopted. It was the episode where her parents just told her in the car.
That was my secret bio dad. My guest was Marie.
Yeah, her parents told her very young that she was adopted, and it had a massive effect on her. Like I heard it in her voice, and I think my mom was trying to avoid that. And then time just kind of snowballed for her. You know, a lie turned into, you know, it was a 5-year lie, and then a 10-year lie, and then a 15-year lie. And I think she just held a lot of shame about lying to me. I don't think she was hiding it to be, you know, because she didn't want me to know I was Black, but I truly think she was protecting me on many levels, whether it be from, you know, my biological dad himself or making me feel othered, because I didn't have that at all really growing up within my family.
So you're engaged.
Yeah.
How soon are you getting married?
We are getting married next December. We're having a Christmas wedding.
Fabulous. I'm so happy for you.
Yeah.
And she knows this whole story?
She does know this whole story. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, looking back to before you were 18, do you feel that you were ever the victim of racism that you weren't aware of?
I actually do have a memory of, someone saying something racist to me and me not knowing what it meant. I was at the gas station. I was 16, filling up my gas tank, and some older weird creep dude came up to me and was trying to hit on me. I said, yeah, no, thank you. And he called me a mulatto.
You're like, what?
Yeah. At that point, I was like, me at the time, I thought it was something Italian. I was like, ugh, he knows I'm Italian. Wrong.
Yeah, from the famous Frizziolis.
Exactly. I was like, ugh, look at him. See, I am Italian. But no, he was being racist. Yeah.
So, but you really did not encounter too much racism then before you were 18.
I was pretty lucky in the city that I grew up in. I live in a gorgeous blue bubble where we don't see a whole lot of that around here.
So since you learned you were Black, you have also not encountered much racism? No,
I would say no. I will make it very clear. I have incredible privilege within the Black community. I will never understand what it's like to be somebody who is darker skin toned. Their day to day, as far as like a lot of my friends, they live life relatively nervous, when traveling or just like doing day to day things. And I have ways to escape that like some of my great friends who are darker skinned don't have. So I'm very privileged in the aspect that I am lighter skinned. I do have that privilege.
Looking back with everything you know now, do you think that people around you at school and that you encountered in the world saw you as the mixed race person you are, and you were the only one that was blind to it?
Yeah, I was really hoping you'd ask this because I didn't mention it before when we spoke. So, after, I'm going to therapy, I'm having a hard time with my identity. I'm like, well, but am I allowed to be Black? And she's like, well, do me a favor. Go ahead and, my therapist said, do me a favor and go ahead and reach out to somebody that you went to high school with and just ask them, see what they say. Oh my gosh. And what did they say? Yeah. So, my best friend in school was also, is a Black woman. And I asked her and she said, I don't understand this question. And that scared me a little bit. I was like, what do you mean? You don't understand this? She said, obviously, Lexie, like, what are we talking about here? That's what she said. She said, obviously, what are we talking about here? Right. And so, yeah, I've asked a couple more people just to gauge it. And yeah, clearly I am the one that that missed something along the way. So was your best friend baffled when you said, well, I thought I was white? I actually didn't tell her. You did not tell her? No. Why not? I'm very hesitant to tell this story to most people because it is just super easy to, villainize my mom. She can admit now, I can admit that what she did was fucked. Like, she should have told me at some point. There was definitely a time that she should have told me. I should have never found out through Eric. I tend not to tell people because, I can see now her rationale. While I don't agree with it 100%, I just don't want folks to immediately point at my mom and yell witch. Oh, right. Do you feel, Lexie, that in some ways you are still white? Or do you feel white in some ways? After all, for 18 years, you were raised with that belief. And I would think that might be hard to shake. Yeah. I will always be as white as I am Black. And I stand firm on that. I know I just talked about privilege, but I have that within this body because I am just as white as I am Black. But it's a struggle. Some days are easier than others. Some days I still, I grew up in this community that accepted me as one of their own, not one of their own, not beknownst to myself. But when I'm in these spaces now, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm white. I shouldn't be here. You know, I went to like a black tech conference and I got in my head. I was so convinced that I was not allowed to be in this space because I grew up believing I was white. So, you know, it still gets to me.
Yeah, what a struggle.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, you sent pictures that I think people will be very interested to see. And if I may say so, you clearly look black to me. You know? So.
Yeah. Especially putting me next to those ghostly folks, you know. I'm I'm not the darkest biracial out there, but you put me next to them and my God.
So you have some news about your stepdad.
Yeah.
Fill us in.
For most of my life, I was looking for someone to fill that fatherly void that Eric left. It was my grandfather first. And then, you know, after my mom married my stepdad, it was him next. And then, you know, I tried to pivot that to my biological father. And then, you know, after everything happened, where I kind of got to see who he truly was and what was going on, I realized that I had had that fatherly figure for 15 years of my life, and it was my stepdad. So he asked if he could adopt me, and I said yes.
As an adult?
As an adult, yes. I said yes, and I now have his last name, and I carry it with pride.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And this has all happened since the time that you first reached out to me.
Yes, it did.
Wow, I remember I called you and I was like, you're like, there's more to this story. Because your name had changed.
Yes.
Oh, so beautiful. What a beautiful story.
Yeah.
Couple more questions.
Sure.
When it came out, or when you discovered that your biological father was black and your family became aware of your journey, did they already know? Like, how many people was this a surprise to, and who knew?
I would say everyone in my immediate family knew, except for my siblings. My two younger siblings did not know. They shared the same ignorance as me, but all of my aunties, my uncles, my grandparents, you know, everyone in that realm of family knew.
Wow. So it must have been quite a surprise for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
Can't imagine the conversations.
There is a pretty big age gap between me and my little brother, 11 years. So he didn't know what race was. You know, he was kind of clueless. He doesn't even remember Eric. So, but my sister and I are pretty close in age. And so I had to have the really fun conversation with a 16-year-old girl that we didn't share the same father. And it was very sweet because she was a little bit devastated. She was like, but I've always wanted a sister. And I was like, no, you dingus. I am your sister. We just have different dads. Like, it's not.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
I'm not adopted all the way through. Like, our mother is the same mother.
So you've got so many siblings. And again, when we were talking before the interview, I was trying to summarize them. It's very hard for me. Could you just run through all your siblings for me? Like, who's the father, who's half, who's adopted, or how many you have of each?
Yeah, I'll do how many I have of each. I actually might have to like use my fingers to count this because it's, oh boy. So I have 2 half siblings from my mother.
Okay.
I have 1 half sibling from my biological father.
Right.
I have 4 now adoptive brothers from my now dad, from my dad, from my mom's husband. Yeah. So
that's such a huge family. It's great. And it's all, it just sounds so beautiful, to use that word again. I'm really so touched by your story. It's quite confusing, but it's wonderful.
Yeah, no, I'm lucky. I have gotten to the point, like I said, where I can kind of have these conversations with my family, and it has truly made us stronger. I wish I would have known that before, that it wasn't going to hurt them forever to talk about, you know, my identity and how complicated it was and how much it hurt me and, you know, all of these emotions. Had I, spoken with them about that sooner, I could have saved us all a decent amount of pain. They were trying to protect me. I was trying to protect them. So we just should have talked about it as a family. But now that we have, it's just incredible.
I guess. But I mean, you were left out there alone to figure things out.
Yeah.
I wouldn't second guess yourself too much. I think you handled it great.
Thank you. Thank you, man.
Of course. So when we started the interview, you said that there were 3 truths: your mom's, your bio dad's, and what really happened.
Yeah.
Did we kind of settle all those? And how do you reconcile them at this point?
It's that third truth that does it for me. I've done a lot of work with myself, with my mom, with mental health care providers, that third truth, the actual truth, I'll never know it. And I kind of just have to accept that. It's not that my mom's truth isn't real, or like parts of it aren't real. It's not that parts of my biological father's truth aren't real, but what actually happened will never be told to me, and I have to accept that, and I have. Good.
Well, you can just move forward with life, content with knowing what you know, and really having settled your origin story, I think. It's just some of the details that are maybe not totally clear.
Yeah, and that's okay,
Yeah.
I am grateful for the way everything happened. I am.
So, Lexie, why did you want to share your secret with us today?
Ben, I was really excited for this question. Long-time listener. I am sharing my secret because, I think identity is something we all wrestle with in different ways. I think even if all of our stories look like nothing alike, the feeling of trying to understand yourself and who you are is universal. Everyone goes through that. Almost everyone. I won't speak for us all.
No, we all wonder where we came from.
Yeah, so I just hope that if someone hears this and they're feeling that way right now, I just want them to feel a little less alone in how they're feeling in that confusion, and that the journey does have an end. So it's not forever. We're in it together.
Well, Lexie, I know that you are touching somebody and you are serving as an inspiration.
Thank you so much, Ben. And I will say, Ben, I have to tell you this because it did make me and my friends laugh maniacally. Okay. I was going to text it to you, but I was like, don't be weird.
No, it's good. It's all good.
I did join the discussion group.
Oh, uh-huh.
And I was, scrolling through all of them, just curious. And I saw that you had posted about me being on the show soon. And it was like, what questions would you ask? And someone said, was she blind? And we thought that was the funniest thing. I laughed about it for a very long time, throughout this past week or a few days since I found it. When I will just be sitting together, reading or something, and I'll look at her and be like, am I blind? It's just so funny.
That was really funny. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a valid point because you look at the pictures and I really hope she sees the pictures. That's what I hope.
You are pretty clearly biracial, I must say.
Yeah, from womb to tomb, I definitely don't look like my family.
And we leave Lexie on a continuing path of self-discovery. But I think that the hardest part is behind her. Thanks, Lexie, for sharing your complicated story of family, secrets, and broken trust. But in the end, I think your story is mostly about love, and it's clearly found you in many, many ways. See pictures of Lexie, her hair, and her family right now on Instagram, Threads, X, and Facebook. And thanks to the many Facebook discussion group members who submitted questions for this episode, including Jamie, Lene, Ashley, Nancy, Alexis, and Sally, who asked if Lexie was blind. Thanks for that moment. The Secret Room is not free to make. It's supported by our wonderful advertisers and by our wonderful member community. If you choose to support for as little as $4 a month, not only are you ensuring the future of this podcast, but you also receive a subscription to The Secret Room Unlocked, hosted by Susie Lark. Here's what's next.
If you are in love with Lexie, and who couldn't be at this point, she's back with me in 1 week to talk about what it was like to finally share her secret and her crash out after she talked to Ben. She tells me more about her bio dad and a heartbreaking story about her bio dad's brother. Lexie also tells us her meet cute story of how she met her fiancé. There's a free trial for the show, after which we hope you'll stay on as a supporting member, because The Secret Room is a listener-supported show. Find The Secret Room Unlocked on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and at patreon.com/secretroom.
And I'd like to welcome some of our most recent members to the Unlocked family: Emily, Ryan, Cherie, Karen, Heather, Talay, Peju, Jill, Kelsey, and Lindsay. Thank you so much for your support. Do you want to set your secret free? Take that first step by clicking the Share a Secret button at secretroompod.com. It'll send your secret directly to your host. Thanks to Susie Lark and Luna Patel for production support, and thanks to Breakmaster Cylinder for the music. This episode was produced in freezing Washington, D.C., home base, but warmer temperatures are on the horizon. Let's record the tagline for the show, if that's okay.
I was anticipating this too. I practiced in the shower the other night.
Oh, good. Here's your chance to shine.
Oh, I'm so excited. This is The Secret Room, a podcast about the stories no one ever tells.
Perfect. One take. And is there anything else you want to do?
I think we're good. Pod on.
Yes.
Okay. All right, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Pod on, Ben.
Pod on, Lexie. How was that?
It was awesome.
Good job.